But praise the Most High today, family. Hallelujah. I was going to put the windows down, but I changed my mind. It's hot out here. And we're just talking. Just like if you was in here with me. Praise the Most High, family. Folks out here don't know where they're going. And I do, so I'm trying to get where I'm going, get out of the way. Get back home, it's hot. Oh boy, praise the Most High. Guess they're trying to get to McDonald's. Going all over the place. No, they still following me. Still don't know where they're going. But I did have an idea I wanted to share today, family. I do hope everyone is well today. And that you are enjoying your day off, your day of rest. Shabbat Shalom. Hallelujah. I almost didn't get on today and record something. But you know when the Most High lays something on your heart, you better be obedient. And I said to myself, I better get on up. Cause you can't sit down, you better get on up now. You gotta get on up. Cause you can't sit down, you gotta get on up now. And the key word for me is now. Because I will hit that snooze button and try to lay there for a few moments. But I've gotten a whole lot better about that, family, I must admit. I must admit. Praise the Most High today. And as I was saying, fam, I had an idea I wanted to share. And let me say, I do hope everyone is staying cool. And like myself, you're staying out the way. My son told me that a few years ago. I said, I thought that was kind of cute. Until I started understanding what he was really saying. I said, no, that's sound wisdom there. That's good sound wisdom. Stay out the way. What you mean stay out the way, Robert? That's easy. Trouble. Stay out the way of trouble. And those troublemakers. Uh-oh. Yeah, I said those troublemakers. So they out there trying to drag you in their mess. Just like that lady there driving 5 miles per hour down to 45 miles per hour fairway, and folks coming behind you. But because you lost, you're gonna go 5 miles per hour. You're not gonna think to go and get somewhere and stop. Get a GPS if you got one. But family, I have an idea I want to share today. And it's one that we all go through. And it's called, I think I saw a ghost. Or did I see a ghost? No, I think I saw a ghost. Robert, what are you talking about today? I think I saw a ghost. Or I think I'm living inside of a ghostly experience. Robert, you really went left there. But the text is simple and will simply explain it. It says in Mark 6:49 and 50 through 50 or 50. But when his closest disciples saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost. They cried out because they all saw him and were terrified. Family, the text says terrified. But immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." And family, we're just going to read over these notes because it's pretty much going to explain everything we're saying. Family, the Most High woke me up early this morning and spoke so loud and clear to me this idea. He said most of my people still don't understand how I work. Most of the time they will never see what I am doing. So true. However, there are times when I'm working right in front of them, yet they don't recognize me, or yet they don't recognize my hand because it looks a bit frightening. It was the same when I revealed myself to my boys on the lake or the sea, when they were too frightened and didn't recognize me. Just realize today and forever that everything I do is for the good of my children, those who love me and give their best to walk out my purpose for their lives. To your feeble eyes, it looks as if I'm out to harm you, but I'm not. I will never leave you or forsake you. I love you dearly, Dad. Praise the Most High, family. Now, family, you know how encouraging that was for me this morning. Because as I was beginning to think over this idea, family, I started recognizing that some of the same stuff I went through back in 2016 and thereafter, I've been going through now. Not exactly the same, but different aspects of the same. Definitely the same with the heart valve replacement. But I noticed that with my arm and my shoulder, family. Back then, after I had all the surgeries and had started back to work a year later, I went out to Allstate and started doing a data entry position, and that turned into a data entry plus they put me over in the call center, answering calls and taking insurance claims. Big jump from just data entry and files. I was a file clerk and data entry specialist, I guess you can call it. Well, family, after I got over there, I was doing so much typing, I was basically doing triple duty. I was doing my ideas for the day, typing that down so I can do them after I left the job. I was doing my regular job, and then I was doing what they called they gave me a position, family, without pay, of course. Motivational coach. And we did a recording about this a good while ago, but that won't quite the name of it, but we'll just say that for now. Because I was on such a health I was doing so much to take care of my body at that time, health-wise, that I would encourage other people. And they would say I was very motivational to the team. But anywho, family, I worked so hard on them 3 things every night and day that I developed carpal and cubical tunnel in this right arm. And They basically was saying that they knew that's what it was, but they wanted to do an exploratory surgery to go in and see if that was the problem. Not to fix the problem, now mind you, but to do an exploratory surgery to see what was wrong. Not going by what the symptoms they see every day as specialists in that field. They just wanted an extra paycheck. See, that's how these fools get you, family. Think you foolish to follow along with their mess. But see, like I said in the prior recording, the Most High has a plan, family. And I'm so encouraged because during that time, he had me to look up the symptoms and look up alternative measures that could be met to solve the issue. And it was some exercises I found online, and the Most High had me to work those exercises, and they worked. That's why in the recordings you would see while I was doing my squats, I was doing certain stretches, and that's what those exercises were. But family, as I was thinking back last evening of how the Most High would allow certain things in your life to prove a point, not only to you, but to the world. And to those who's in opposition of him, and to those that also are watching your life to see how he moves, to be encouraged by it. And family, I just noticed that right after this surgery, right during it, I went to the hospital for an elbow injury. And you can see that thing now, it's swollen. They still haven't addressed it. And my wife was telling me to take a before or after picture or a difference, see if you can tell the difference, but clearly you can see that knot on it. And that's nothing but fluid. That's nothing but fluid coming down off of this area right in here. And the only thing we could think of how I injured it was on my job. But family, at that time, I really won't in my physical mindset thinking about no injury. I was thinking about getting the job done, because it was a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Pardon me. And most men, when they get little bumps and scrapes, they like, okay, whatever. Keep moving, keep it moving. That's not gonna stop me. And evidently that's how I did it this time. But come Friday morning, I had already started catching a fever, or was feverish. But I'm like, okay, I got one job today, and I'm gonna go out and get that money. I'm gonna finish this job. Because for one, I don't like to leave a customer on hold for their product getting done. And it was a crib, so I figured that some mother was waiting on this crib. And I was right, and it turned out to be a customer that I visited on a prior occasion. And it was a sister, a Hebrew. And family, that crib took me almost 2 hours to put together, which it would have only took me 15 minutes. And the Hebrew sister was so patient with me. She acted like it was just normal. She came up one time and checked on me. I was like, yes ma'am, I'm fine, I have water, I'm good. And family, I was struggling with that crib. And I know I'm going on and on with this story, but it'll make sense in a minute. But family, I finally finished with it, and it was all I could do to just get home safely driving my truck. It wasn't nothing but the Most High, family. I was out of my physical mind at that time. I was just going off instinct and him leading me. I got on to the Haas family and I was burning up. I done pissed all over the toilet. Pardon me, family, I'm gonna tell it like it is, real. And stripped off my clothes in there, evidently, and made it to my bed. And evidently I made it by the air conditioner, turned it all the way up. Had that thing on like 50 or something. And my wife, she came home by the leading of the Most High, which she never do hardly, during her breaks from one job to the next. Her full time, she was on her way to her part time, and she came by the house. And like I said, it was nothing but the leading of the Most High. And she came in and was like, "No, you didn't." See, her first thing was she came in to use the restroom. It was like, why in the world would Robert leave the bathroom looking like this? He done pissed on the toilet seat and left it down and got his dirty clothes in here in the bathroom. And she was hissing a fit. And I was out of my mind. I heard her and I didn't hear her. She was like, "Robert, what in the world is wrong with you? Why would you leave this stuff in here? Why is the house so cold?" And she's a hot-natured individual, so normally she would love the air on, but she knew something was wrong because I cut the air all the way off. Even on a day like this, I had the fans running. The ceiling fan in my room running. Or the little personal fan. I said, "I don't feel good." She was like, "You must don't." And she came on in their family and was doing the wifely thing, making sure I was all right, because she knew something was really wrong, because, you know, her antennas were already up because of those two things, the air up and my messing up the bathroom. And she started going into nurse mode, asking those questions she asked. And she finally realized something was wrong and said, "Robert, I think you need to go to the hospital." I'm like, "I ain't going to nobody hospital. I'm fine. And that turned into, "I go later. Leave me alone. Let me rest. I'm tired. I'm just tired. I need to sleep." And she go to touching on me, "Robert, you have a fever, baby. I'm calling the ambulance. If you don't want to go, I'm gonna call the ambulance, and they're gonna come get you." I said, "Trina, I'm fine. Let me rest. I just need to rest for a little bit." She's like, And the next, what seemed like the next 5 minutes, here come a lady coming into my room. "Mr. Holloway, I'm such and such. We need to get you to the hospital. You have a very high fever. Now we're gonna help you get up. Can you get up?" Her and this little white guy, a Hebrew sister. And they got me on up and out onto a stretcher. And I remember them asking me if I could walk down my steps, which I said yes. I remember laying on the gurney and them rolling me to the ambulance and putting me in. And little parts of that. Next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital. And they was asking me a bunch of questions. I said, "My elbow hurting." I said, "My elbow hurting." And it was, family. It was just achy, painful. And that turned into what they say was an infection in my elbow, and that infected the heart valve that they replaced in 2016. But that issue turned into, with the elbow, I was in the hospital for like 2 or 3 days, and one of the nurses pointed out that there was the knot on my arm, the swelling on my arm started having a red head to it. And I told the doctors, and they pretty much seemed to ignore that. But the pain started going up from my elbow to the back of my arm and into my shoulder. And then over my collarbone. And I'm like, oh boy, that's painful. I mean, just like, I don't know how it feels to get shot, because I tried to stay away from flying bullets. I've been in a storm of them, but I tried to stay dry. Oh boy. And if you know my life, family, you will know what I'm talking about. But it's like my shoulder, my collar, over my collarbone was hurting. It felt like the song that say shoulder lean. Where they talking about make your shoulder lean. That means I shoot you in that shoulder, and you're gonna have to lean with it, lean with it, rock with it. Family, I was hurting up something. But praise the Most High, family. We all know the end of this story if you know the testimony so far. I had to do an open heart surgery to replace their heart valve. But even though, you know, my elbow was the culprit of why I went in, they never addressed it. They gave me antibiotics for the infection during my visit in the hospital, and even when I came out of the hospital, they had me on the antibiotics for like 3 weeks. However, the issue has never been addressed. And now, even afterwards, oh yeah, while we was in the hospital with the shoulder, they did a extraction of fluid off this shoulder. And when they did that, the guy asked the nurse for a 17mm needle, but she said all I have is a 20-inch needle. So he told her to go look in another drawer across the room where there should be extra needles, and she said all she saw was a 24mm needle. And he said, okay, this one will work. She said, you found a 17mm? Just being chipper. He was like, this one will work. Like, shut up, such and such. So I made note of that in my doped up state, because I took medication for it, knowing I was going to have them stick a needle in my shoulder. But anyway, family, I made a mental note of that, and the fella stuck that 20mm needle into my shoulder, and it hurt like hell. It hurt like pure hell, family. And I did all the hollering and screaming I could do. Then he stuck it in again. I said, what in the world is this fool doing? You know, I was ready to throw him a couple of left hooks over there at him. And turns out he had done injured my shoulder. And I went back to the room, and I told the nurse my fingers were tingling. I had numbness and tingling in my 2 fingers right here, my pinky and my ring finger. And the nurse made note of it. And the very next day, I was going into surgery. You know, having to endure going through a fast, not being able to eat at such and such a time, still being doped up. And like I said, we went on into the open heart surgery. Now after that, won't nobody think about no elbow, won't nobody think about no shoulder. We was thinking about this aching pain in my chest that I suffered before, that I had a clear memory of that pain, but it seemed like times 2.